What is a sure sign that someone is new to your hobby? They think I'm good at it. They buy super expensive equipment before they know how to use it. It's always either this, or they go against everyone else's advice and buy the cheapest option and end up upgrading anyways almost immediately. I think I just made this mistake. Haha, happens to the best of us. Now you'll pass the advice along to someone else and they won't listen to you, lol. It's the circle of life. Why do my plants always die in a few weeks? I water them every day. Okay, I gotta confess. I killed 2 cactuses. The first one, I watered it every week and it started to rot from the inside. The second one dried to death. I had to let it out. Everybody told me not to give mine too much water, so I didn't. Turns out that they need to be watered every year like clockwork. The good news is that a dead one looks a lot like a live one. I put my cactus in a shitty sand and let it hang in my balcony. Forgot it existed, found it 6 months later covered in cochineals. The thing had tripled its size, was healthy AF. Then I brought another succulent, with the perfect soil, perfect fertilizer, drainage. We are 2 months in and it is fighting for its life. FML. This seems like the epitome of that duck yeah, concrete meme. Pure, unadulterated excitement at the smallest thing. Not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, more that it's lovely to see. Edit, wow guys, I truly never expected this comment to explode. It's been great reading all of your responses of how my comment applied to your lives, and some of the stories are truly inspiring. Thanks for the upvotes and awards, my karma has gone through the roof. A few weeks ago I replaced a ceiling light in my apartment, including rewiring, and will still walk to the room, just turn it on and off over and over in disbelief that I really did it. Underbaking bread because they're afraid to burn it. It won't burn that fast. Just leave it in the oven. Ada, I just want to say, for all the droves of people saying undercooked is better than burnt, the window between undercooked and burnt, with bread, is vast. If you like raw dough, sure, good on you, but bread doesn't go from undercooked to burnt in a split second the way other things do. If your bread is still pale on the outside, you can leave it in for at least another 10 to 15 minutes without it being burnt, and that's being really conservative with my timings. If they're thinking about making a small business based around a crafting hobby, I tend to see a lot of people begin talking about making a small business out of hobbies they haven't even started yet, or are very early into it. I love knitting. It's one of my favorite things to do. I would not do it for money. The amount of effort I would have to put in would not make it fun anymore. I posted a pair of socks I'd made for myself the other day, and one of my friends said you should make those to sell. Which sounds great until you find out that it took $50 of premium yarn and 40 hours of my time to make a single pair. A lot of people don't realize how much money goes into craft materials. Then they say, why don't you just use cheaper materials? For me, I'm a bladesmith. I don't use cheaper steel for the knives I make because they would get dull or chip easily. I'll put many hours into my craft too. There's no way I wouldn't factor that into a price if I listed one for sale. Edit, a few of you have mentioned spring steel found in junkyards and other things, and I do try and do that when I get the chance. I need to locate a good junkyard nearby. Why don't you just use cheaper materials? How do people even ask that? Because you get what you pay for, and cheaper is almost always worse quality. Yeah, that's the beginner mistake I came here to post. Cheap yarn is cheap for a reason. It chafes, itches, makes wearer clammy, isn't warm or durable. Worst case scenario, it's got knots or the thickness varies. Just, no. They buy a fish bowl. Posting on Requarium how's my setup, and they have Imaginarium neon rocks and no filter. They want to make incredibly overly complicated recipes, or they want to 100% exactly replicate one of the best beers in the world. They're almost paralyzed by fear of infection contamination. Missed my gravity by 2 points. Will it be okay? No, give it here. Frequent post on music production. Hi everyone. I'm new to all this and I have zero experience making music. Never had any kind of lessons and I've never touched a keyboard, and really all I've ever done with music is bob my head along with it in my car. I've never heard of music theory and am not really interested in it. So I bought a MacBook Pro and Ableton 11 and the best interfaces and microphones and MIDI keyboards I could afford. I'm going to make sick beats and change the music industry. How do I get started? That's pretty universal, for any hobby. On the plus side, it means you can buy used gear, in perfect condition, for half the price of new. This is exactly how I put together the wood shop in my basement. I bought used stuff off of Craigslist for a fraction of what it would have cost new. I learned how to service the tools, get them running well, and keep them that way. It's an affordable way to get started. I have a great idea for a new board game. I have never made a board game before. It's like a combination of Monopoly and Risk, but I don't want to give more details because I don't want someone to steal my idea. Can anyone make art for my Kickstarter? I'll give you credit. Or they explain the concept to you, so it's a bit like Carcassonne? What's Carcassonne? First project. I'm making a baby blanket. Crochet. And I can say this because I did this as well. It takes much longer than it seems like it should to make a blanket. I've been crocheting for close to 20 years now and I still suck at finishing baby blankets, ha. Hoard yarn and start 12 whips that I rotate through as one bores me? Heck yes. They say stuff like stretching and rest is unnecessary. Do you see a lion stretch? No, I don't, Toby. But I also don't see a lion sit at a desk for 8 hours before trying to run 10K. As someone who has worked with lions for years, I can tell you with 100% confidence that lions in fact do stretch. Especially after lying down for a while and before doing something physical. Take that, Toby. Stretching is 46% of what my roommate's cats do. I don't think I've ever seen my cat finish a nap without immediately stretching. I have, however, seen him finish a nap, stretch, then walk across the room and start another nap. Because that was the pre-nap to the nap. Brand new guy asking a bunch of addicted gamers, hey, should I buy this $100 pack? Not so much a hobby as it is my career, but for many people it is a hobby. When one of my new private violin students opens their case and it's a bright blue violin from Amazon. It sounds like shit, it's impossible to play because it wasn't constructed correctly, and it was only $60. If you're interested in playing an instrument, ask an expert where to get an instrument. Amazon is never the answer. Rent an instrument until you know what you want. They bought a bunch of expensive stuff or they bought a bunch of cheap stuff. The 2 reasons why most people give up hobbies prematurely. 1. They get frustrated because their expensive equipment isn't helping them be instantly good or improve at an accelerated rate. 2. They get frustrated because their cheap equipment is literally hindering their progress, regardless of how much practice and effort they put in. They ask if they really need to buy all the books. DD? They ask one of the 10 or so questions that get posted almost daily to writing, or they just assume they know everything already and their first draft is brilliant and won't hear anything to the contrary. 9 times out of 10, could you critique my writing? Tell me I'm talented and special. People don't want to hear your opinion. They want to hear their opinion coming out of your mouth. My character is a drow rogue. They are chaotic neutral and stick to the shadows. Remember running my first ever campaign with my friends, also their first time playing D&D, and they all told me their alignment was somewhere on the good scale, mix of neutral and chaotic, only for them to bully every shopkeeper, guard and child they came across. I remember when I played my first D&D campaign. Everyone was unexperienced, so most of us went with a really standard character. One friend had a dragonborn, outcast chief of his tribe. His mission was to get back to his tribe, form an army by befriending other tribes, then win the upcoming war. I swear to God he was more evil than the big bad evil guy. My character was like twice his size and could snap his neck just by looking at him, and he feared me lol, so sometimes I drifted him to the right direction, but I never forget when he abandoned a lost little girl or when he found a bunch of dragonborns who needed help and first he just wanted to kill them, and when we convinced him that they would be helpful in the future he put them in a cave somewhere and forgot about them. He is true neutral. Oh my god. My first campaign, a friend also made a dragonborn who was cast out of his tribe. And my friend made him chaotic good, but he just murdered everyone LMFAU. Yeah, he wasn't very good at making D&D characters, or role-playing for that matter, but it was funny.